Shawty's like a melody in my head that I can't keep out. Got me singing like na 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 every day's like my iPod stuck on replay. Shawty's like a melody in my head that I can't keep out. Got me singing like na 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 every day's like my iPod stuck on replay. Remember the first time we met, you was at the mall with your friends. I was scared to approach ya, but then you came closer, hoping you would give me a chance. Who would have ever knew that we would ever be more than friends? But railroad white breaking all the rules. She like a song played again and again. That girl, like something off a poster. That girl is a dime they say. That girl is a gun to my holster. And she's running through my mind all day. Hey, Shawty's like a melody in my head that I can't keep out. Got me singing like na 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 every day's like my iPod stuck on replay. Shawty's like a melody in my head that I can't keep out. Got me singing like
my senator, Lindsey Graham, has fucking died suddenly, without warning. The whole nation was holding its breath for the other one, Mitch McConnell, but alas, it truly is the one closer to our hearts that was taken from us far, far too soon. The ladybugs got him. By the way, if you don't get that reference, I was gonna say research at your own discretion. But honestly, you are far better off never ever fucking knowing what that means. But okay, I did not record an episode for a month. Wait, am I muted? Hold on. Am I muted? Okay, I'm not muted. For fuck's sake. See, okay. I did not record an episode for a month because I was busy shooting. I was trying to get some shit done yesterday. I didn't because there was a fucking tornado warning for 5 minutes, but it's just so fucking hot. It is so goddamn hot. So but I did get a lot done. In the meantime, I got a lot done in June. And hopefully I took more time off from work in August, so hopefully I can be able to get some. Hopefully I'm able to finish up then, at least for like the actual location shooting. But in terms of like getting fucking everything else done, it's I've put more work onto me. I thought I had everything fucking done for shooting, and then I just constantly decided, actually I want to do this. Let me try this instead, and I'm just like killing myself for more and more. But anyway. Yeah, in the meantime, because of the film, I changed my graphics card in my PC because the one I was using is 9 years old, and had, how much VRAM did it have? It had like 4 gigs or something. Anyway, I was trying to use the AI features in DaVinci Resolve, and it would take 20 fucking minutes to rotoscope a fucking scene. Now it takes 45 seconds, so I can actually edit and do visual effects without wanting to blow my brains out, so that's good. But the other thing that's been blowing making me want to fucking blow my brains out is my goddamn 3D printer, which I was worried I was gonna have a fucking sound complaint last night because I was livid. So I have not been able to get that thing to work for about 5 months, right? And I did like a Hail Mary strategy, which I thought was gonna be the fucking Hail Mary, which I just replaced the entire print head. I'm using an Anycubic Cobra Max 2 at the moment. So I replaced the whole fucking print head because I have been having consistent issues with extrusion to where I have not been able to get a fucking successful print out of it in like since like February or whenever. So I tried that, and all it accomplished was that now it won't level properly, and it won't stop extruding. It keeps oozing filament out of the end, and so I like lost my shit, and I'm gonna try one more thing to fix it. And if that doesn't work, I'm just gonna buy. I mean, I've all these printers I got secondhand, so I'm just gonna buy a brand new fucking printer, and I'm not gonna get one from a Chinese brand this time. I'm gonna get one from probably Prusa. I'm probably gonna be boring. I'm gonna get the Mark 4S, even though it's. I mean, I like printing big. I like having a lot of build volume, but there's not really a point of having any fucking build volume when the goddamn thing never works. So I'm probably gonna get the a more standard sized printer, but I would rather have one that fucking works and I can rely on instead of beating my head against a fucking brick wall. But genuinely, okay, genuinely, last night I was looking, like trying to scrambling, trying to figure out what to do about it. And I made the mistake of going onto the 3D printing subreddit, and I saw a post that honestly, like the past few days, I thought that I had reached the threshold of how much hate and anger I can have towards the rest of humanity, but I still somehow managed to find new lows to witness. And the first fucking thing I see on the subreddit is this fucking guy. It's just like all it was is a screenshot of Thingiverse, and it's just like absolute fucking trash. It's just slop. It's the kind of shit that you see at like craft fairs and expos, right? And it's just like, does anyone else have this issue where you just don't know what to print? And I actually was like, I'm going to go to this fucking guy's house and I'm gonna fucking scalp him, because it's like I'm sitting here trying, because I have things I'm trying to do with this fucking thing, right? I have the printer is just a means to an end for me, right? Because I'm actually like trying to create shit, and these fucking faggots are just like using all the only they have, like they're able to get shit done with these things only so they can just like produce trash. And they're just like, and they're having like a dilemma because they don't know what trash to print. And that just made me actually lose my fucking shit last night. But okay, I'm gonna try to do one more thing with the Cobra, and if I can't fucking get it to do anything, I'm just gonna get a new one. This is the second printer I had. I had a Creality brand one which thoroughly killed itself, and this one was working fine and then it just killed itself again. But I sold the Creality one on eBay, and I made like a profit of like $30 off it because eBay took like 20% of it or something. And so it's just, and I was already like basically giving it away. So I don't know if I'm just like gonna be able to like sell the Cobra or what. I don't know, but hopefully I can figure something out soon, because I'm really fucking sick. Oh, another thing that pissed me off yesterday, I had like a nightmare day yesterday, because I was trying to shoot a scene real quick at a location, and there were safety concerns with it. It's a tunnel. It's an unfinished like mining tunnel that was bored into a mountain, right? And so there were some concerns about it collapsing, but they resolved that. But so I go there, even though they say they reopened it because they determined it to be safe, but there's still a big fucking gate there. So I had to I drove like 45 minutes out there, and I couldn't fucking do anything. So I need to call and figure out if they're ever gonna get rid of that gate, or if they have any idea when they're gonna take it down. And I was trying to there's another location I've been scouting for, I've been there twice, and I hiked around there, and I couldn't find what I was looking for both times. And the last time I did, all I accomplished was cutting my leg fucking open, hiking, sliding down a mountain. So I need to call the park again and see if like that structure is still there or not. So, but I think that's just like the major updates in June. Okay, this is gonna be I'm just gonna try to go through what I watched in like the past 2 months or past month, because there's a lot. But honestly, because like I try to get it done within a reasonable, like record these things within a reasonable amount of time, but by the time I get to it, I just forget fucking half of what I want to say about it. So let me just see what I got. But oh, I gotta sneeze. Fuck! God damn it. Okay. Alright, first off, before I get into the marathon I've been doing, uh, I watched Backrooms like a month ago, so no one cares anymore, but I'll just give my opinion real quick on it. Um, I'm not surprised to say that it's overrated as fuck, but it's not overrated in an interesting way, I guess. I feel like if I were to surmise what this is that he took a very mildly interesting concept and he made a like the a pretty like what you would expect a competent movie out of it. Um, like I think a perfect example of like like my feelings towards this is that when I first saw the Backrooms image, right, when it became popular, uh, in my is it? I think it's really pouring rain outside. Sorry. Um, so like my first like what immediately struck me about the concept of the Backrooms was, or what made it scary to me or creepy, is that you could just unknowingly stumble into this environment that you can't get out of, and you're just gonna wander around until you just succumb to hunger and thirst and die. And you don't know what hit you, basically. That to me is scary. It's not scary when you make it so okay, it's like there's a very clear doorway in and out of the back rooms. There are entities that populate it because you have to have, well, that I can't really blame him, because it's like it's a movie. You can't just have, I understand you can't really have like a big production where it's just people wandering around halls. So I mean, I'll get to the still lifes in a second, but also like actually I'll get it right now. But it's like another thing is that like why the fuck did he add the detail that you could eat the creatures? So that to me just like completely removes an entire element of what made this intimidating. Like it's like it's like this environment should be inhospitable when you can easily survive in there for long periods of time. It just completely ruins it for me. But like that alone, but also, hold on, where's the this fucking thing? Why this Ethan Ralph? Why the fuck did he show so much of these things? Like I don't understand. This is not like, this looks fucking stupid to me. It reminds me of the things from Spy Kids. Like at least if the pirate guy, he did not show a lot of it. And he did a pretty good job of keeping it vague to where it actually had some mystique to it, sorry. But showing Ethan Ralph in close up when it's very obviously just silicone shit glued to his face, I don't understand how like this is supposed to be effective. Is that low res? No, it's some, okay, that looked, I thought that was fucking low res for a second. Sorry. I sounded really gay saying that. Holy shit. I mean, this looks fucking stupid in when you actually can take a good look at it, but he at least did a pretty good job of where like you don't get a good look at it. I thought like, okay, if you're gonna make like the idea of the still lifes, I think is all right, but to me, I think it would have been a lot better if it would, instead of just like this. I mean, I get the idea is that okay, it's like it's trying to recreate this thing that's in motion, right? That's the idea, because it can easily replicate furniture because it's stationary and it doesn't move or change, but a person's dynamic, so it can't really replicate, changes in expression or move. Like I get that's the idea, but I feel like it would be a lot creepier where it's like, okay, you see it has two eyes, or I mean, you see it from a distance and it looks legible as a human being, but when you approach it, like you see that its eyes aren't really eyes. It's just these masses that are where eyes should be, or like a mouth. It's like it's not something. If you actually like look at it, it doesn't get the fine details or the function of these extremities in the face. So I just think this approach to designing these creatures is really terrible. And it took me a lot out of it. But the other big issue is the fucking therapist. I feel like I actually don't really understand what her in the being this movie is supposed to accomplish. Like her arc is that she uses a like chunk of concrete to smack the pirate in the head, and or like I guess like what her arc is actually just like she can't fix. I guess like she can't fix certain people, which is like all right. I don't know. I feel like her character was really uninteresting and just I don't know. I feel like 𝐄𝐩𝐢𝐬𝐬𝐿 was a lot better. I mean, his character was a lot more at least fun to watch, or at least more like barely at least more engaging than fucking her. And I think he did a pretty good job, despite the fact that he really did not have great material to work with. But I don't know if but I think like just like her character, I think is indicative of a lot of like the shit. Sorry, I'm. Should I record these like in the middle of the day? I'm trying to think because I'm always like exhausted doing these things. But one thing I've noticed, like a continuous trope I see with like elevated horror, is both like I mean, people have like talked about this to death already about like the trauma aspect of this, but a dimension to that I think people don't really address is that when it's a character in these movies that are trying to address trauma in their lives, it's always secondhand. Like in her case, it's literally like the same exact thing in Smile, where it's like, okay, it's like her dealing with the mental illness of her mother. It's the exact same fucking thing. In something like Midsommar, it's the suicide of her sister or the murder suicide of her sister and her parents. Like it's always like obviously like that thing happening something like that happening in your life is going to deeply affect you, obviously. But I feel like it's like, again, it's like, okay, it's someone who is experiencing the secondhand effects of someone else's suffering, whether that's like their mental illness or suicide or death. And I feel like it's a very like shallow way of like dealing with the concept of trauma in film. Like I mean it's nothing new. Like for example, like I was thinking about this with The Exorcist, right? Where I mean the Exorcist doesn't really have a protagonist. It's probably Karras, but it's arguably just as much Chris O'Neill. And you could say that Chris O'Neill, like she's the one, like she's not the one who's possessed. She's experiencing what's happening to her daughter. But I think the difference is that one, in The Exorcist, Reagan is a character. The movie is Reagan being attacked spiritually, physically by a force, and you are experiencing that through another character. In these movies, it's always something that happens either at the very beginning of the film or something that happened it's always something that happened long in the past. The movie is not about the trauma itself that's happening right now. I think that's a very like ass backwards way of looking at horror. The horror movie should be the trauma. Like the trauma should be what's happening now, right? I guess you could say like, well, it's like okay, it's like a reflection of what happened. In this case, I don't really see how that is related at all, but I feel like it's a lot more powerful when it's like, okay, the movie is about like the movie itself should be the trauma, right? It's like I don't know, it's almost like oh, it's like that video that Shredded Nerd made recently about that people gave him a bunch of shit about because he was criticizing Dark Souls, how like the story of Dark Souls happened in the past. I don't agree with his criticism of that, but in this case, it's kind of like what's happening is that what the characters are dealing with is something that happened before the actual text of the film. I don't know if this makes any sense. I'm probably just rambling again, but I just feel like it's like a very I feel like this approach to horror, the reason why it's so ubiquitous and why it's popular is because it's very easy to relate to. It's like oh, I know about something bad that happened to someone else. Like that's a lot more broad than like oh, I experienced something really like something like extraordinary that happened to me that really hurt me. And I think it makes for more broad appeal when it's I feel like at the expense of any real bite. So I have no idea if my point came across that. I admit I need to I need to start. I have like ideas for scripted videos. I feel like those would go over a lot. I'm a lot better at writing out my thoughts than just trying to kind of piece together something on the fly. But whatever this. I mean, I will say that the actual depiction of the environments themselves in this film are pretty well done. And that I guess that's the price of admission. That's why people are going to see this. Even like by the way, I saw this in like a fucking theater in the middle of nowhere. And like I mean there was some like younger people in there, like who you would expect, but there were some like old there always is just like old fucking people in movie theaters. And in this case, I'm just like what the fuck were they expecting? Like, what's that poster? Like, what the like? Did they actually see this in the marquee? And they like, oh yeah, I'm gonna like spend my Saturday night watching this. Like, what the fuck? Or actually, it was a Monday. I think I saw that. But whatever. Like what? Like, I mean, I didn't hear what they had to say about it afterwards, but it's just like that. That to me is just baffling that they will literally just show up to fucking anything. Like you can make a Hawk Tuah movie and like half the theater is gonna be 80 years old. You can make a Tong 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 Sahur movie and it's like 70% of the audience is gonna be fucking of the silent generation. But okay. Alright. Let me try to remember. So I left off at Priest of Darkness. Let me pull up my phone so I can see who fucking directed. I know who directed this. I just don't know the name off the top of my head. It's hold on. Okay, Sadao Yamanaka. Okay. This one I liked it, but I watched actually last time when I did this, in 2023, I watched his film Humanity in Paper Balloons, which I thought was far superior to this. But so okay, I keep forgetting that I people listen to this. So okay, let me just start over. So for the year 1936, I watched Priest of Darkness by Sado Yamanaka. Okay. And then, which was all right, not nearly as good as the film he would make the next year, which was Humanity in Paper Balloons. Definitely watch that one. Um, yeah, I'm gonna go through these pretty quick because I got a lot. Okay, 1937, I watched The Dybbuk by 𝐿·𝐼𝐻·𝐵𝐺ZHNISKY, which is a supposedly a horror movie. Um, about a Yiddish demon in a shtetl or shtetl. How do you? Oh my fucking god! This language. That's my biggest takeaway from this movie is listening to Yiddish for 2 hours. Um, this one, yeah, this was kind of a waste of time in my opinion. I did not like this. It was well made, but I would not. It was just a fucking nothing burger. It was a lot of singing in Yiddish. If you want to watch 2 hours of rabbinical chanting, be my guest. All right, 1938. I watched The Messieurs and a Woman by Hiroshi Shimizu, who he is kind of like a his Japanese director who's sort of I think all most of his career was from the 1930s specifically, and I feel like he got overshadowed by the more major filmmakers that would show up in the later two generations. But he is kind of a not necessarily in his filmmaking style, but more in his humanism and sensibility. He's compared to Ozu, but this one's pretty. This one's fine. Um, I watched what was it, Mr. Good Morning? What was the other movie? Mr. Thank You from. I also watched that last year. Last time I did this marathon. Okay. 1939, I watched The Four Feathers by Zoltan Korda. I believe this is the first full color movie I watched for this. I'm a big fan. I'm a pretty big sucker for these historical epics. It's definitely not on the same level as like what would come in the like 50s and 60s, but I quite enjoyed this. They did remind me a little bit. For some reason, it did remind me a bit of Life of Colonel Blimp. I'm not sure why. I think it's just the look maybe, but um I really liked. I like this one quite a bit, and it's about it's about a disgraced officer who travels to Sudan to assist his friends who he missed the boat, but he came around and he went to he followed his friends into Sudan and helped them in disguise as a native. But has this director done anything? Oh, this director also did a adaptation of the Jungle Book from 1942. I need to watch that again. I probably would like that a lot more now. Um, I watched that a long time ago, but okay. For 1940, I watched The Great Dictator, which I was underwhelmed by. I don't know. I do like. I've seen City Lights, which I liked a lot, and I really like The Gold Rush. I think that's the only two from Charlie Chaplin I've seen before this. And obviously, I think he's much better at physical comedy than spoken comedy, in my opinion. Uh, Even though he doesn't say a whole lot, I feel like it's just the humor was not as. It felt very infantile because I mean I get that probably is the point, but with the legacy this movie had, I was expecting a bit more than just like him yelling about Wiener Schnitzel, and it's like it felt very. I guess again that might be the point, but it just felt childish, and I wasn't terribly impressed by this. Okay, for some reason, these next three movies are all about the devil. I don't know what happened, but okay. So from 1941, I watched All That Money Can Buy by William D. Dieterle. Dieterle. And this is also the first movie I watched with Walter Hudson. Houston. Fuck me, Walter Houston. Um, I'll get to that later. But this is pretty much a Southern Gothic, relatively like, Southern Gothic spin on Faust. I did really, really enjoy how. I mean, this movie I think looks great. Um, but I did really like how unapologetically American it is. There's a great line by the character Daniel Webster. I fight 10,000 devils to sub it. Oh, I mean not specifically American. Sorry, specifically New Hampshire. I don't think I can. I can't think of anything else that is so dedicated to being set in New Hampshire than this. But he said, "I'd fight 10,000 devils to save a New Hampshire man." I've seen some criticism towards the Daniel Webster character, but I felt like he was a very like he is like supposed to represent a very like an idealized politician. And I think I guess it just rubbed some people the wrong way, but I feel like I don't have a reason to hate him. I feel like he's a great character. My favorite moment is at the very end though, where if you don't know, uh it's basically the premise is that a poor man in New Hampshire makes a deal with the devil. He sells his soul to have riches for 7 years, and his time is obviously like as time goes on, his wealth corrupts him, and his time is running out. And so he asks this local politician to represent him in a court to basically appeal to get his soul back. It's very much reminds me a lot of like A Matter of Life and Death, um, which is still probably my favorite film of the 1940s. But I won't give too much away, but he wins. He makes a case against. Oh, also a detail I really liked is that his the jury against Jabez, the man who sold his soul, are all traitors from American history. And so Daniel Webster makes a case. He wins. He wins him over. There's a great moment at the very end where the devil, played by Walter Houston, he's trying to be like he's not trying to be like a sore loser, right? He's like, oh, put it there, you bested me, and then Webster's just like, get the fuck out of here. He just throws him out of the barn. It's held in a barn. He just throws him out. I felt like that moment was really great. But I quite enjoyed this movie. It's known by All That Money Can Buy and The Devil and Daniel Webster, depending on who you ask. But that was for 1941. For 1942, I watched The Devil's Envoys by Marcel Carnet, which is also about the devil, as the title suggests. But it's two. I guess they were once human, but they are agents of the devil. I believe they're like they've been made immortal, but their purpose is that they're portray themselves as traveling minstrels, and they go from they travel throughout the. It's just set in the 15th century. They travel throughout the land, and they basically are trying to. They both are like seducers. They're trying to corrupt people into, um, you know, befalling, like losing their faith in, you know, devil shit. One was sorry, I'm retarded. One is played by 𝐿𝐼𝐴𝐻, who directed The Annunciation of Marie, which is so far my favorite film I've seen this year. So obviously he did that much later in life, but so he plays the male envoy. But both of them end up falling in love with um they arrive at this castle, and they both fall in love with two of the inhabitants, and the devil has to come and intervene. But it was all right. It's out of this weird trilogy of devil movies I watched, this is probably the weakest, but I would still recommend it. But 1943 is Carnival of Sinners, also known as The Hand of the Devil by Maurice Tournier. I think that's how you say it. Who directed the 1918 adaptation of The Bluebird, which is probably my favorite movie of the 1910s. I really love that movie. I was very surprised, pleasantly surprised when I watched that. So I was quite looking forward to this one. And this is also a Faustian story, but basically a struggling artist who sucks. He sucks dick. He buys a severed hand from a cook, which basically gives him talent. But the wrinkle to like the Faustian bargain that I really liked with this is that the devil gives him an ultimatum. Is that like, okay, you can keep the hand, but for every was it every yeah, everything was like every day that you don't pay me back, the cost to buy back your soul doubles. So the movie is essentially the movie's about interest, right? The movie's about usury. So and very very quickly his debt spirals out of control. This artist. There's a very great sequence where he meets the ghosts of the previous owners of the hands, and how they came to acquire it, and it's achieved. I was trying to figure out how it was done. To me, it looks like rear projection of some kind, but I really enjoyed the visuals of that sequence. There's my. I'm not sure if I like this more or less than All That Money Can Buy. I would say both of these are tied pretty much for me, but I liked it. I liked it. Okay. All right, 1944, I watched They Came to a City by Basil Dearden. I can't really tell you much about this one. I don't really remember it a whole lot, so I'm just going to move on. 1945, I watched Brief Encounter by David Lean. I mean, I'm a big fan of his later films. I guess I really liked it, and there was some really great filmmaking. There's one moment towards the end. I mean, if you've seen it, you probably know what I'm referring to. That Dutch angle, I felt was probably the best use of that I've ever seen in a movie. But I just didn't. I mean, it looks fantastic. It looks gorgeous, but I didn't resonate a whole lot with it, and it's probably just because of where I am in life. But I probably. I mean, I have a feeling if I watch it again, I would enjoy it a lot more. But I would still say it's definitely a really good movie. I just don't love it as much as it just didn't live up to its reputation to me as I've seen it now. But I'll definitely probably watch it some other day again. Okay, 1946. This is one of the more let me scroll down. I'm an idiot. Okay, this is one of the more bizarre movies I watched from the 40s. Cross of Love by Tavo Tullio. I don't know how to say this. From 1946. This this is like, I think this, I don't know a whole, there's not a whole lot of information on this, because to me, if I had to guess, this feels like an independent production, which is not common for the mid 1940s. So the backstory of this is that the director is an actor first and foremost, and he's like, where is he from? He's like Tuvan or something. He's like, what was? He looks straight up like he's from like Kazakhstan or something, but he's Finnish. But let me see. Okay, his father was Turkish Polish, and his mother was Persian Latvian. I would not have guessed that. And he straight up looks Chinese. I guess he does not contradict that meme about the Finns. But he's an actor first and foremost, and he got into directing. And I'm assuming he's somewhat self-taught, or he's it does have like a weird outsider art feeling to this. A lot of people compared his filmography to like Josef von Sternberg, who's I want to talk about later. But it's like there's especially towards I really love the opening because okay, so let me say what this is about. So essentially it's about the whole film is basically recounting a story of these two men who arrive at a lighthouse, and the owner tries to kill them because his daughter fell in love with another man years ago who shipwrecked on their little island, and then she went with him to the city, and then she becomes like a prostitute and kills herself. So but the opening is weird. Like there's like a like I'm trying to figure out how to describe it. It's like a lot of it's like very very rough around the edges in a way that you don't really see from movies from this time period. And especially because like it's like a lighthouse in the storm, and it's portrayed by a very obvious miniature, and it feels very handmade in low budget, which I have not seen in a movie this old before. So from that alone, I was pretty fascinated by it. But it was recently Deaf Crocodile recently put out a box set of his films, so I need to check out the rest of them. Oh, he did remake this one. He remade it as was it Sinsuela? He remade it at least I think sometime in the 1960s, but I'll definitely check out more of his filmography because it's bizarre. Okay, so 1947, I watched an adaptation of The Pearl by Emilia Fernandez. It's fine, but I did really enjoy how it looks, and I was not surprised because this was shot by Gabriel Figueroa. I cannot fucking pronounce a goddamn name tonight. Anyway, this cinematographer, he is very prolific. He worked a lot with Luis Buñuel. Like he shot The Exterminating Angel, The Young and the Damned, Macario. That's not Buñuel, but whatever. So the movie looks fantastic. I was a really big fan of the story, like the short story when I read it in high school. So, and I actually thought about adapting it myself. So I wanted to watch this for a very long time, but it's fine. It does look very good. Okay, so 1948, I watched The Treasure of the Sierra Madre by John Huston. Why do I keep saying Huston? That's how I always read it as Huston, but it's Houston. Because Angelica Houston's his fucking daughter. Okay. And this movie's fucking great, by the way. I really, really loved it. But it's funny because so I actually accidentally watched another John Huston movie recently. It was Night of the Iguana. It's funny because I watched it on TV. All I knew is that I recognized Richard Burton in it. And I was like, this looks like Treasure of Sierra Madre. And it turns out, same director. I don't know if it's the same cinematographer, but I really, really loved this. This is not the first John Huston film I've seen. I watched his Moby Dick, which was whatever, and Wise Blood, which I really feel like I should like that movie a lot more than I do because I'm a huge Flannery O'Connor fan. But I was really fucking annoyed by the Foghorn Leghorn accents that everyone fucking had in that movie. But if you're aware of Treasure of Sierra Madre, I probably don't need to explain, like, go over it. But it's great. It's probably my favorite movie from the decade that I watched for this. Okay, I'm gonna try. Okay, I'm currently on 1969. But since I'm so far behind, I'm going to get to the 50s, and then I'll call it a night. because I'm about to die. Okay. So for 1949, I watched Le Silence de la Mer by Jean-Pierre Melville, which I was pretty underwhelmed by this, even though I really love Army of Shadows and Le Samurai. By the way, okay, hold on. I gotta take it aside. So, yesterday I watched the new Minions movie, and I swear to God, there is a reference to Le Samurai in there. But I cannot fucking find anything. That's not what I'm... Hold on. Okay, so it's in the museum. Okay, if you've seen the movie... I'm trying to find the still of this. Let me see. Oh, let me check IMDb. I feel like I'm going fucking crazy. Because I have not seen anyone else address this. I thought it was either I think it probably was like Humphrey Bogart in Casablanca, but it's like the exact same tan like coat and the gray hat, and it looks just like Alain Delon. It's like this. It's like a wax figure of Alain Delon from the Samurai, and it's I swear to God it has. Why can't it show me all of them? Sorry, I'm retarded. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to find a still of this. Okay, no, but I swear to God, it looks just like Alain Delon in that movie. But I don't think it's that unrealistic because hold on, no one talks about this anymore. I still cannot believe that this is real. There is a reference to the Devils in Space Jam 2. Is there Yes, okay. There's a reference to the fucking Devils in Space Jam 2 along with Mr. Freeze from Batman and Robin. So, if honestly that is way more fucking insane than a Les Samurai reference and Minions, but I have not seen anything that confirmed or deny that, so I'm gonna still harp on that. But anyway, okay, I'll go back to what I was talking about. But I don't know. I was kind of whatever on this movie, even though I thought I had a great premise. But okay, I'll get through 50s. But for 1950, I watched Girl with the Hyacinth, or it's Girl with Hyacinths by Hasse Ekman. I feel like it should be Girl with the Hyacinths, but this film is essentially it's like 13 Reasons Why. Basically, it's about a woman who kills herself, and it's her neighbors investigating why she did it. But it's a Swedish film. It's depressing, but I enjoyed it. Okay. 1951, I watched the Day the Earth Stood Still. Speaking of that, definitely has a reference in Minions. The whole darn character is based on Gort by Robert Wise. I thought it was fine. I did have to watch. I watched this on YouTube because I was too lazy to rent this, so they had to cut out the score to it, so that probably did not help my viewing experience. But am I okay? Am I is this an autistic criticism? So I'm pretty sure like everyone knows what this movie is, but what happened? Essentially, what like the fucking what's his name? Klaatu. Keanu Reeves. He stops all electricity on Earth for like an hour. And his reasoning is that it's an ethical way of showing off the power of his species. But I could not help but think that like if you did that, that would kill a shit ton of people. But I know it's a That's not, I guess, a nitpick, but still, I feel like they probably should have addressed that. All right, for 1952, I watched The Life of Oharu by I'm going to kill myself. Okay, Kenji Mizoguchi. I really like this one. This movie was great. Really fucking depressing though. I would say my favorite from him I've seen is still Sancho the Bailiff. Um, but yeah, this movie is really fucking rough, and it's about a woman, so you know that the movie has to be pretty fucking depressing if I can empathize with a female character. I'm kidding, by the way. But it also that also okay. So why is the running theme is either Faustian bargains of the devil or women forced to be prostitutes? I don't know why that's the two through lines for this marathon. But 1953 is Anatahan by Josef von Sternberg, or Joseph von Sternberg, however you fucking say it. I don't care anymore. I think this is the first. This is my introduction to him. There's quite a lot of films I'm aware. I liked it. It's very odd. I don't know. It's presented in a very odd way because the whole thing is narrated by him in third person. So there's like this weird disconnect through it, and also like Cross of Love, there is like a weird artifice to it. I think a lot of this was shot on soundstage. But oh my god, people are still harassing me on the internet. Okay. Another great movie I watched from Japan, 24 Eyes from 1954 by Kisuke Kinoshita, who directed the original Battle of Narayama, which I'm a huge fan of. And I like that still more than the remake, but this movie actually, like, I would say Oharu is a lot more depressing. This is more sweet, therefore it's not as this actually almost made me tear up a few times. And the premise is a school teacher has these pupils, and she watches them grow up from 1928 to 1946. And yeah, this movie's I would say this movie, if, like, there's a difference between like a tearjerker and something that's depressing, because I would say depressing is more nihilistic. This is a lot more, way more sentimental. But I would say, I don't know, that to me is more. I like a lot of I like sentiment in my movies. Great movie though. 1955, I watched Bad Day at Black Rock by John Sturges. I really like this one too. It's like a contemporary, well, for then, contemporary Western. I guess like my major criticism of it is that it does feel a bit anticlimactic, but that really is just because the build up to it, the anticipation is so well done. Really, I don't want to actually don't want to give too much. Well, I don't want to give too much away, but I'll say what the movie is that it's a man and a town, and they both know he knows that they know that he knows what they did, but both parties have to keep up pretense that they don't know what's going on. And there's just this like simmering animosity between them. And it's very well executed. It's just that when it finally crescendos, it's still, I wouldn't say it ruins the movie. It just like, I felt a little bit like it could have been a bit more climactic, but still a good movie. 1956, I watched The Ogre of Athens by Nikos Kondoros. I think that's how you say it. I was trying to watch more Greek films because that's a pretty big blind spot for me. And to be honest, I'm not in love with Greek cinema, but I gave this a shot because, hey, it's from 1956. I like the premise. It's I don't know. The premise is that a bank clerk is mistaken for a serial killer, and therefore, like these criminals want him to assist in this operation. But it's a lot more satirical. It's not really about that premise. It's more about the politics, about the political, which I don't really know. I'm not educated really on the history of Greece, so I felt like I didn't really get a whole lot from this, but I guess that's more my fault for being retarded. But conversely, another movie, well, it's set in Greece, 1957, I watched Oedipus Rex by Tyrone Guthrie, which I believe this was I think this might have been a TV production in Canada, but you probably have seen stills from this because famously they use masks for all the performers, which look fantastic. And I read that they took influence from Japanese no masks, which are designed to where you can very subtly change the expression based on how you tilt your head. But I really like this. Obviously I love the costume design, and I love the prose that they used in this. So, and I really enjoy like the Greek tragedy. So I was a big fan of this. 1958, I watched Giants and Toys by Yasuo Masamura, which is also more of like a satire. I guess I just hate fun. I think that's just like the underlying theme. Is anything that tries to be funny or satirical, I just fucking hate. I mean, I didn't hate this. I just thought it was fine. But it's really just about these competing toy and candy companies in Japan and their marketing campaigns. It honestly reminded me of like Jingle All the Way for some reason. And let me see what we got for time. Okay, I'm almost at an hour. All right. Okay, lastly, I'll end it here. For 1959, I watched Nazarene by Louis Buñuel. I didn't like this one as much as I thought I would. I really like, I like Exterminating Angel and The Young and the Damned. And this is more like anything that has to do with religion. I'm more just inherently interested in, or anything about like a priest. But I don't know. I just found this like kind of. I guess I was frustrated by this. But I guess that's the point. But I just didn't find it nearly as engaging as his other stuff personally. But okay, all right. I covered the rest of the 1930s, 40s, and 50s. Then, if I record next time, I'll get to the 60s, which is where the good shit is. But all right. Okay, I'm glad I got something out done. Got something out. I need a co-host because I cannot fucking talk for an hour without sounding like a retard. But okay. All right. I'll see you next time. Fuck it. Bye.
Man, these people took my kids from me, then they paused my bank account. I have so much anger in me, got no way to take it out. Think I'm stuck in the Matrix, where the fuck's my nitrous? Yes, I am a cucker, like when people fuck on my bitch. Shit that I'm posting on Twitter, they're telling me, hey, don't say that. How niggas can't see me in public, I'm driving an off-road Maybach. With all the money and fame, I still can't get my kids back. With all the money and fame, I still don't get to see my children. Niggas see my Twitter, but they don't see how I've been feeling. So I became a Nazi, yeah, bitch, I'm the nigga.